Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. Just going to go through some news items. Yesterday, Trump had the market going both directions for a while on soybeans. Market was trying to figure out the delayed information that was coming out and tried to figure out whether there was good news or bad news with soybeans because it wasn't very clear when Besant actually said what was going on there. And then Canada with nothing and maybe a new acronym. I don't know. Everybody but Canada, it seems, on trade deals. At least U.S. seems to be getting through some trade deals anyway. So let's just have a quick look. So there's signed in, or not signed in. They're going to have a signing ceremony maybe this upcoming week. But 12 million metric tons for this year yet, going up into May, I think, is their timeline when majority of the Brazilian crop will start coming in. And then for the next 3 years, even though it's a 1 year agreement, uh, they're saying it's going to be 25 million metric tons per year for the next 3 years, just while Trump is in there. So this is what it kind of looks like. And this is in bushels, right? So this is the commitment right here, and this is the possible commitment for beyond the 1 year. And it did get some critical minerals and tax reductions. So kicked the can down the road for another year, I guess, for China because there's still tariffs on there. President Xi seems to be at the head of the summit now because everybody wants to talk to him, including Carney here. Uh, they're going to try to restart their negotiations, but you can see that there's really nothing that's getting done. But yeah, President Xi is now the kind of in control now that Trump is gone. Uh, there is a TikTok transfer deal did get discussed. There was debate whether that was even that was on the table yesterday. And here's the 9 things kind of thing that did get finalized. The framework for China soybean purchases, implement 1 year pause of rare earth export controls, suspend port fees for 1 year, half the fentanyl related tariffs from 20% to 10, plan Trump's trip to China in April, resolve issues related to TikTok, and they complete the American energy deal from Alaska. And as I stated yesterday, the energy deal from Alaska, it's LNG, and here we are trying to just get and that goes right by the British coastline, and we've got a ban on tankers, and U.S. can just go flying by there, China can go flying by there. So yeah, the ban is for Canada to have tankers. Anyway, idiots. Um, Yesterday, the Saskag put out some yield numbers, and this is going to maybe put some more pressure on this market here too. 42.4 bushels to the acre canola out of Saskatchewan, and I think Manitoba and Alberta are probably going to match those numbers as a whole as well. So very likely the yield numbers are going to have to move up, especially if Saskatchewan is at that number. Hard red spring wheat at 51.5, and you can see where the 10-year average is at 42 and then 34. So good yields. And I think a lot of that is because there's smaller areas that had drought as well, even though there's still some drought, but there's still some smaller areas with zero. This is kind of funny.
It reminds me of the lady who got married for her 4th time. And as she was leaving the wedding hall and driving with her new husband to the hotel, she said, "I'm feeling a little bit nervous." He said, "Why?" She said, "This is my first time being with a man." And he said, "Well, how is that possible? You've been married 3 times already." And she said, "Well, each of my prior husbands had a condition. My first husband had a heart condition. So when we got back to the hotel room, he got so excited that sadly he died of a heart attack. My second husband had an eye condition. And so he didn't see a tree as he was driving back to the hotel and hit it and didn't survive the crash." And the man said, "What about your third husband? What was his condition?" She said, "Well, he was a liberal." And so every night he would just sit at the end of the bed and promise how good it would one day be.
I thought it was good. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the weather. The jet stream seems to be pushing farther north, and that's going to isolate some more rain farther north in the prairies, and of course drier weather for the U.S. And we'll see a drought monitor map there as well. Here's your just build of moisture going in, and in looks like the northern plains, the yellowhead corridor kind of area is going to get moisture. Here's just a 5-day anomaly, so you're starting to get a little bit more moisture in some of the South America area that is important for growing crops. Here's your drought monitor map. just your percent of drought in these areas, just for the various crops. So 34% soybeans in drought, and 31% corn's in drought as well, and mainly in this area here, of course. This is going to flip here a little soon here, but I'm going to have to make some changes. But 648 for canola on January, rapeseed 482, and soybean oil down 9 cents, and palm oil is down again. So we're down at 41, or almost 4,200 ringgits there. Crude oil, West Texas, still hovering right over that $60 barrel. Soybeans 1090, and that was a pretty good run that we had yesterday. And your spring wheat is now trading a little bit positive, but your Chicago and your Kansas wheat are trading lower. Canadian dollar is actually trading a little bit lower as well. So this is the leg that we had yesterday. We traded on both sides of this trade. We did not know what direction it was going to go for a bit. It was positive, then negative, and then positive again towards the end. And good thing for pricing into more canola, especially if we get to these values right where we are, basically. If we need to make some sales, it's not a bad place, especially if we know what's going on or going to happen with the bigger yields coming out of Saskatchewan. December 4th is the StatScan report, and it tends not to be too positive at all. Here's your rapeseed. We're getting back to previous highs, just like the canola is showing up here. This is the forward months of European rapeseed versus canola, and it is, let's call it $135 higher. So that's pretty decent value. That would actually maybe encourage some more sales of canola if we can get everybody but Canada carting out of the way. Soybean oil, it's actually not doing well. And then you look at the palm oil futures, it's not doing well either. So it's breaking lower. Soybeans had a good day. Canadian dollar pulling back from its, the highs that it made on Wednesday, and US dollar surging a little bit here. So if you have a look at wheat, pulled back from its highs, it's still in the same trend. Weekly durum or wheat exports, some above the last year and your 5-year average. So it's trading pretty decent, but we're just ahead of pace a little wee bit. Now, just looking at last year's carryout going into this coming year, expectation is the potential that we're going to have a little bit higher stocks to use. I would question this a little wee bit if and I even question the acres increasing, as well. So we'll have to see. Your Kansas wheat, pull back here as well. Same thing with your Chicago and your milling wheat. Corn got to that 430 to 433 area and then pulled back. That 200-day moving average seems to be have been pretty strong resistance for it. Oat futures just falling apart. Cattle futures a little bit of coming back in both cases as well.